Welcome back to Beards, Bourbon, and Games. I'm your co-host Mike, and with me is...
Conqueror Corey, baby.
And you know what, Corey? The new Xbox has been out for a couple of months now, and the burning question is it worth the upgrade?
Well, it's like you said earlier. Microsoft told us that if we just threw money at it, all our problems are gone.
That's what I've been doing wrong in life.
So we decided to do a little bit of a test here with Assassin's Creed in regards to load time and just kind of the visual performance that you get, because right now you can't get a Series X, so if you don't got one, it's not like it matters. But is it worth that money to get you an Xbox Series X? And for a lot of families, a lot of times they don't have a lot of money to deal with, so they let's say they can't afford a Series S, and they see a good deal for an Xbox One X. And that's what we're going to answer today, is kind of how these consoles stack up. And I do not expect the base Xbox One to do well. I never expected it to when we did this test.
I didn't either. And the thing is, too, I mean, with Microsoft's new plan, everything runs on everything. So there is no exclusives right now for the Xbox Series X. So it just comes down to performance at that point. But,
yeah,
like Corey said, we'll get into it. We start with a series of load tests. This is just the initial Assassin's Creed load screen, and then the secondary load after the cutscene. We skip it so you don't have to watch it a million times. And then we're going to get into some gameplay. We notice some real differences here. And then we get into some more gameplay. So let's do it.
You casual scrub, you picked the default difficulty. Oh, wait, no, wait, that was me.
That was you. Who's the scrub now?
Hey, Master Scrub, thank you very much. I worked hard to earn that title. Okay, as you can see here, the base model did load in at 12 seconds. Not too bad considering it's running on a 54 RPM hard drive. Now, for everybody who just plays consoles, you probably don't know what that means, but anybody who plays on PC are probably cringing right now.
It's slow. It's slow.
And so does the Xbox One X. It runs on a 5400 RPM hard drive. They did not upgrade the speed of the hard drive on this. And you can see it came in exactly 12 seconds. So that extra processing power ain't going to make a difference there. And like with any open world game, as you can see from our Morrowind video, a lot of it depends on your hard drive. And hold your breath. $10 seconds. Hopefully no one collapsed. But I was shocked with this, though. It only edged it out by 10 seconds. That's probably more programming of the game rather than the speed of the drive.
It is, because you'll see it here in a few seconds where it actually makes a huge difference. So this is the load from the prequel, whatever, opening cinematic to going into the game. It took the 19 seconds to load up, which was a lot longer than I thought it was going to be.
It takes longer to rewind your VCR tapes.
The One X took 18 seconds, so it was a little bit faster, which it probably got from that processing power. And, of course, the Series X.
Here's where you should hold your breath again.
4 seconds. That's where that solid-state M2 drive comes really in handy.
So now we're going to show off a little bit of the graphical fidelity of each console. And as you can see, we're on the base Xbox One. And being one of the weaker of the two main consoles for... It was 8th gen, right? Was it 7th gen or 8th gen?
I think it's 8th gen.
It shows. And maybe not so much here. You're probably looking at this like, oh, it's fine. What are you talking about? This is what I'm talking about. Now, I do want to mention this has been patched with a lot of software updates from Ubisoft, but my understanding is it's still going on. But man, look at that screen tearing. You just see it. It's like he's warping out of existence.
We were worried that it was just our capture device, and it wasn't. After doing some more testing, it wasn't. You'll see that later. as we do the other systems, because it didn't have a problem on those.
I mean, this looks like he's trying to do the instant transmission technique or something. I don't know. Heck.
At one point, we paused this during editing, and his head just went away because of how bad the screen tearing was.
So you can see a little bit of the details there. They did. I will give it to Ubisoft. They did a good job of shoehorning this into the Xbox One. Their venture went a whole lot better than a certain other venture of punks and cyber dystopian worlds.
Set in a year, I don't know, maybe 2077.
Yeah.
So this is the One X. As you can see, it actually runs a lot smoother than it did on the regular one. The one wasn't as powerful as Corey mentioned before. But here you actually have some good... the models look clean. But it still has some issues with tearing that you'll see in a sec.
So you can see a lot of the edges are smoothed out a little bit here. They opted for graphical fidelity rather than frame rate improvement. Now it is more stable in the frame rate department, but you can see where they did improve the details for that. And there's the screen tearing still, but it's not as bad.
His fingers disappeared for a sec there.
Dude, when he does that with his fingers, I think of that Drain Eye song on YouTube. Do, 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 da, da, da. Which I know that's not the Drain Eye song. It's some kind of song, but still, though, I saw it on like the Drain Eye from World of Warcraft do it. It'll always be the Drain Eye song to me.
It will be to me too.
Oh gosh, it's still pretty rough. I like it's better, but not much. Especially when you curve around it. I notice when there's a lot of movement on the screen, it seems to be when it's the worst.
Yes.
And if you're wondering, those at home wondering what screen tearing is, if you're not sure, screen tearing is what happens whenever your TV or your monitor cannot synchronize with the rate of frames that your video device is outputting. That's why we get. That's where you get screen tearing. A lot of times it happens. It outputs higher frames than your monitor is capable of doing, but it can also, if there's a fluctuation in frames, it can cause it as well because it's no longer in sync.
And of course, now we're on the Series X, and to me, it's a really big difference. Everybody is moving a lot smoother. All the edges are a lot clearer. It's what I expected out of a next-gen console.
That's right, baby. Microsoft's mini fridge does what Nintendo don't.
And Sega. Now here's the big thing. Watch him jump up and down. There is no issues. We have no screen tearing.
If it's there, it's very hard to notice. And one thing to also note, if you have a TV that is capable of 144 hertz and the game supports 144 hertz, even if there is screen tearing, it's a lot more difficult to notice at 144 hertz versus 60 hertz. So, to no one's surprise ever, ooze out every ounce of performance that they can on these titles, and everything's smoother. I think it runs at 60 frames per second, maybe. But it's like a cap 60 frames where it stays at that target area. But I'm not 100% sure. I'll have to look that up for Assassin's Creed, but I'm almost certain it runs 60.
I think it is. Of course, now we jumped ahead to adult Eivor to try to get some more look at the scenery. This is the original Xbox. We're going to kind of run around here, break some doors, see how choppy it is.
You know what? I'll give it credit where credit's due. I expected much worse than this.
I did too. We actually mentioned that when we recorded this, that we were very surprised how good it was doing. Um, it is very playable. I mean, even the dance scene, the naked eye, we didn't notice the screen tearing as bad as we thought we would. We saw it was there, but it wasn't super obvious until we slowed it down. We're like, oh, you can definitely see it. You could definitely see, like right there, it had trouble. The system had trouble keeping up because we were spinning around real fast. It had trouble loading everything up. But it will play.
And sometimes that's the most important thing that you have to make that decision. Is that, you know, do you spend more money on something? Do you, if you got an Xbox One X, I'm sorry, if you got an Xbox One, I don't think at this point I would justify upgrading to a One X. From an Xbox One, you might as well just save up and go to a Series S. At that point, it's a more viable upgrade for the extra $100. All right, and so we can see here as it moves around. Yeah, to no surprise ever, they use them to dumb down the details in the distance. And we'll see it here in the Xbox Series X, but I think there's actually a building in this scan that you can't see in the one because it's covering it, because it can't draw that distance.
And you again have the real bad screen tearing issue here. It's just not being able to keep up.
Whee! Ooh, that sounds cold. That looks like it's cold. Brisk.
One of the cutest men. Need to be careful.
So what we're doing here is we're basically going to run up and find somebody to kill Artworx. Okay, but first, some bird footage. That's a big Jim there dancing around. I forgot, me and him both rotated playing this.
Yeah, he was super excited for this game.
It's a good game. It don't feel like Assassin's Creed anymore.
It doesn't feel like Assassin's Creed, but honestly, the game is a lot of fun. I've had a great time playing it. It's kind of refreshing too. I mean, you eventually get to a point where you would do a lot of assassin-y things, but it's kind of in the background. So
just running through there now. I am impressed with a little bit of the snow that this system kept up with some of the snow effects there. But just gonna whack on them a couple times.
But remember the snow on these, and then when we get to the Series X, it's a pretty big difference.
All right, and then at this point, I think we cut on over to the yeah, we do. All right, now you can immediately notice the difference on the Xbox One X. The textures are just more; they pop a little bit more. Again, you know, it's just that extra. It's that extra RAM, that extra processor strength, which, you know, the processors in the Xbox One X in the PlayStation 4 Pro aren't, by today's standards, they're not the strongest processors, but it does make a difference here for this game. It's just me, or does Ivar look like he just has incredibly poor posture?
He does. All assassins do.
Like they even did that in Odyssey, I think.
They've got great health care, so back doctors aren't a problem.
Oh, okay. Welcome to our Assassin's Platinum package. We have a grade A chiropractor.
Just the difference in these, in the 2 generations there, is pretty big.
Okay, so we're getting around to the scan, and I'm looking for that building that I saw in the Xbox Series X. I don't think I see it still.
It is definitely rendering farther.
It is. It is a lot better. You can see the distances a whole lot. That's that building, I think. So
As you can see, it
gotta love those screen tearing dribbling up the screen.
still has some issues. Part of this, I wonder though, if a lot of these issues could be fixed with a solid state.
I guess we'll have to find out.
Because think about it.
This calls for science. Sorry.
I mean, think about it. You can get a used Xbox One X right now for about $200, roughly. You can get a terabyte solid state for about $100.
Need to be careful.
Does that help it keep up with the Xbox Series X or not? I mean, we know the Series X is going to be more powerful. It just has better processing power, more RAM, and it's got a M2 drive, which is not present in the Xbox One X, but would increase performance enough to help it keep up, because there is not any exclusive games right now for the Series X.
So if you have an Xbox One X and you're beating yourself up over trying to get a Series X, you can probably hold out unless you just want the shiniest things ever.
Yes.
Like Mike, he's got to have shine.
Gotta have it. Did it for the channel, okay? Totally.
Sure. That's what I told Mrs. Conqueror whenever I bought something very expensive that we may be reviewing on the channel. It was for the channel, I swear, sweetie.
You don't understand. We gotta have those views. It's how I value my self-worth.
Having a YouTube channel does give you an excuse to dispose your income.
Hey,
We do it for you guys.
I needed a new rig, had to build it. Again, you pop into here, you instantly notice a difference. At least I did. I mean,
Except his back posture, it's still bad.
oh yeah, he's always got bad posture.
My crew is in danger.
Alright, so here it just does not miss a beat, man. Just break the door open, grab that stuff.
We tried to follow the same path every time. Best we could.
Better.
He ate that food in like record speed.
I gotta eat as fast as I do.
And there, I tried to trip it up and try to get it to stutter or do something, and my attempts fail when I try the best. The Xbox Series X, it just keeps up with me.
It is super strong. It's a great console. It's very powerful. I love all the stuff it does. It has so many features. They're just impossible to find. You have to be very lucky to get a hold of one. Still.
The good news is they're easier to get a hold of than the PS5.
Yeah, that's true.
They actually went down in price. They're not too. I won't ever buy from eBay sellers because I don't support scalping, and I won't ever support scalping. Even if they have about $50 over, like on principle, I probably won't do it.
Yep. If the thing does not exist anymore, I'll do something like that. But I don't do scalpers because of the shortage like we're having now. I know you guys have heard that enough from our channel, but don't buy from scalpers. You become part of the problem.
There's a building around here. Maybe it was there.
There's off in the distance too, right there.
Yeah, you get there. That's what it was, because you can't see it on the other console. Just the draw distance is so crap. But Series X, to nobody's surprise, handled it like a champ. Now, if you want better than this, you're going to have to go with an RTX 30 card, if you can find one. But that's just the story of everything right now. You can even find previous gen graphics cards for PC. So, console gamers, just know that you're not alone. The PC gamers, we're going through the same battle.
Yes, it's pretty bad.
It's terrible.
My last gen card fetches more money than I paid for it on eBay right now, which is insane to me. So.
Woo, dip. Risk.
Overall, the Series X is what it's supposed to be. It's super powerful. It's super strong. If you're upgrading from a 1, definitely get a Series X or a Series S, depending. If you have a 1X right now, if you can't get a hold of a Series X, my opinion, no big deal. Still runs the games. They still look pretty decent.
Yep, and it from the sounds of it, Halo Infinite's going to be on the Xbox One X. So, you're not in a massive hurry to upgrade now. If you can, nice, but like Mike said, don't beat yourself up over it, and especially don't fuel the scalpers. I know we say this over and over and over, but the best way to get it to stop is don't make it profitable.
We'll do a follow-up video on the 1X versus the Series X once we put a solid state in them. That'll give you kind of a better idea on those two.
Well, Mike, are you giving me an excuse to throw money at the channel?
I'm giving you an excuse to throw money at the channel. Remember
Bring the
wallet! Bring the wallet! Tell Mrs. Conqueror I said, we need it for the channel.
All right. Well, that's basically a small comparison we wanted to do for you, just to kind of because it didn't seem like I had a whole lot of videos around that on YouTube, and we like to focus on these kinds of little things. I always find them fascinating because I've been in that spot before too, where I get that itch to upgrade, and I have to just look up things to remind myself, okay, I can wait till the prices get back to normal. Mike, do you have any other final thoughts?
No, buddy, that's about it. You pretty much covered everything. Basically, bullet point notes. Xbox One will play the games. Doesn't look great, but it plays them. Xbox One X looks a lot better. Runs the games pretty decently. Xbox Series X, games look phenomenal. They're going to look phenomenal. But, is it worth the upgrade? Do you have a 4K TV? Are you going to get a lot out of it?
All right. If you like this video, be sure to smash that like button. If you want to see more of our content, be sure to just slam your fist into that subscribe button. Don't slam your fist. Just click it.
Punch it!
Leave us a comment down below on what videos you want to see from us. We love to hear from you guys. But as always, I'm your co-host, Corey the Conqueror.
And I'm Mike.
And we'll
see ya.